What's up, everybody? Welcome to tonight's episode of The Breakdown. We are back after a very short hiatus. Hope you guys didn't miss me too much. Just kind of a little bit of a slow period waiting for Ultimate Marvel to come out. You know how it is. But we are back on track, and I have a really good show, I hope, for you guys tonight. While we didn't broadcast for 2 weeks, I had a lot of people contact me and tell me that they hoped that I wasn't getting discouraged and that I was going to continue the show. They really liked it. So everybody that gave me encouragement, I really appreciate it. And I did my best this week to really try to prepare as much as I could so the show would be as good as possible, because that was part of the reason why I didn't go on one of the weeks. I didn't feel like the show was ready. But I feel really good about this one. So the topic tonight is going to be habits. And more specifically, it's going to be about something that I refer to as key points. So before we start, let me just kind of explain what it is that I'm talking about. So basically, when I look at a matchup or I look at a match, I try to pick out key points in the match. So one of the most basic examples of this that will be in every single matchup is a knockdown situation. Okay, so player A knocks down player B. So what you want to do is you want to look at that situation and see how does player B react. And this basic example that we're talking about, a knockdown, is so common and so explored that a lot of players kind of understand it, so they don't fall into the trap of reacting the same way every time. But you know how sometimes you'll be playing online, you'll find those people who uppercut every time they get knocked down? That's the kind of thing we're going to be talking about tonight. So a more advanced example would be player A does a fireball. Player B always reacts to the fireball the same way. They always neutral jump, they always use a specific move, anything like this. This is the kind of thing that we're going to be talking about tonight in a lot of tiny details, because while you're playing, if you can pick up on some of these habits of your opponent, you can exploit them majorly, and it can be the difference between winning and losing. This is kind of on the same topic that we've covered before with seeing the opponent's game plan, things like that, but this is a little bit different, and I think it definitely merits its own episode, and I think it's a little bit overlooked, but I think this is one of those, there's a lot of little key things that really separates the top players from everybody else, and I think that this is one of those things, and you're going to see why exactly tonight. So the match that we're going to be looking at tonight, this is going to be a little bit different from the episodes that we've done before. Instead of looking at multiple sets between various opponents, we're going to be looking at the same two opponents, but a bunch of different games, at least 3. We'll see how much time we have. And the players, if you didn't see my tweet, by the way, I do want to mention real quick, I tweeted about the show about 20-30 minutes ago. We're going to be covering the grand finals from Devastation this year between Justin and Justin Wong, if you are unfamiliar with Justin, and Latif. And also shout out to my 500th Twitter follower. So shout out to me and shout out to all my Twitter followers. So you can follow me, OS Ryan Hunter. So, basically, what you should do is, while we're watching this, just kind of, I'm not going to point out too many things right away. I want you guys to try to notice some of the patterns that you can pick up on. Because it's interesting, because you would think, oh, well, top players, they don't have patterns. You would be wrong. Almost every player might not have a pattern per se, but what we want to look for is a player being put into a situation and then always reacting the same way. And maybe not always, but 90% or, even 75%. If you can pick out one of these situations, it can be a huge opportunity for you. So let's jump into the match. I want to just catch you up right now, because this set, if you did not watch it live, as you can see here, the score is 2-0 already in Justin's favor. This set went the full number of games. Justin was in winners and Latif was in losers. It's 3 out of 5, so Justin is already up 2-0. So you're going to kind of miss out on the first 2 games, which is kind of unfortunate because the topic that we're talking about is, picking up on habits of the opponent. So obviously Justin already has picked up on a few things from Latif, but I'm going to show you guys like the key games basically. So and this set did go. Latif resets the bracket. He wins 3 games straight here, resets the bracket, and then Justin wins 2 games again, and Latif wins 1 game before Justin takes it. So again, we are picking up here on game 3 of the first set, and Justin is up 2-0. So let's see what happens here. So right off the bat, Latif gets a little bit of pressure started. Drops a little bit of an execution error there. Drops his feint. Justin's prepared for the execution error. Gets a nice punish. Gets a forward throw. Latif there using the invincibility of the Seismo to make Justin's cross-up whiff. And winds up getting a small punish. Justin just taking his time. And there you already see, I'm going to pause it there. If you didn't see, Justin did a dive kick. And then he did a standing roundhouse. And Latif did a burning kick. So unfortunately you don't see the games before that, but you don't really need to see the games before that because that's just like a straight up read. It's not necessarily that Latif was reacting the same way, but again, this is the kind of situations that I want you guys to pay attention to tonight. Again, we're talking about key points. So to elaborate on this point further, I didn't want to blow your guys' mind at the beginning, but so back to the idea of key points. Key points can be pretty much anything, and it completely is dependent on the matchup. So, again, like a basic one is a knockdown. That's going to be applicable to any matchup. But depending on the matchup, you might have different key points. So, for example, in this matchup, Rufus versus Viper, a key point is going to be a blocked dive kick and how Latif reacts to any blocked dive kick. Because he only has a set of options at that point. So if he reacts the same way a lot of the time, this gives Justin valuable information. He can form an educated guess to increase his chances of succeeding in his mix-up after the block dive kick. Because, again, that is the purpose of a block dive kick. It's to start mix-up. So these are the kinds of things you want to look at. Any kind of a key point to, again, I'm just trying to define it for you guys. A key point is basically any kind of situation that you can isolate but is also repeatable and is a common occurrence in the matchup. Okay, so in this situation, after the block dive kick, Latif did a burning kick, and Justin read it correctly with a standing roundhouse and got some nice damage off of it. So keep that in mind. So Justin there baits out the crouch tech, gets a dive kick, finishes off Latif for round 1. Latif starts off the round walking forward, gets a little bit of chip damage off of a Thunder Knuckle. And there is another one. I'm going to rewind this. Actually, you know what? Before I do, let's see who was paying the most attention. Obviously, there was another key point there. Did anybody catch what the key point might be? Now, it's definitely difficult because this is the first time we're seeing that key point, so it could be literally anything. But based on what I just explained about the dive kicks, see if you can figure out what the key point might have been there. And this is actually a key point that I find reoccurring in a lot of matchups. I use it myself in a lot of matchups. So let's see if anybody was paying attention. It's going to take a second because the whole stream delay dealio, so I got to wait for the chat room to catch up to what I'm talking about. Hope everybody's having a nice night in the meantime. I know I certainly am. Had a nice day today. The weather was pretty sweet here in Florida. Rained all week last week, so now we're reaping the benefits of post-rain weather. Big Timers asking if I can show the sequence again. I will show it again if nobody gets it. I mean, I'm going to show it again regardless, but I'll show it again if nobody gets it and let you guys try to see. Nobody's really coming up with anything, so okay, let's go back. Let's go back. I'm going to try to go back to the beginning of the round here. See if I rewound it too much. I did, of course. I'm the worst. Okay. So we're just going to watch from the beginning of the round. I'm going to pause it at some point. I want to see who's the A student in my class. By the way, I'm going to pause it here, but there you also saw, again, the block dive kick, Latif again reacted with a burning kick. So just to drive that point home a little bit. But okay, so who is smart? Because this is definitely not easy. I do not fault anybody for not getting this, but this is, once I point it out to you, you're going to be like, oh yeah, you're right. That is a pretty common kind of occurrence. Okay, I see some people talking about the feints. That's actually not what I'm talking about. Although the feints are a very common occurrence in this matchup, specifically the way Latif plays it. We'll talk about that a little bit later. And that might even be valid. I'm not saying you guys are wrong. That could very well be a key point. I happen to think that it's not, because it's not an isolated kind of occurrence. It's more of a running theme, if that makes sense. Again, you'll see when I tell you guys what it is that I'm talking about. Just going to see if anybody got it. Rugio is close. Rugio is close. Okay, some of you guys are getting close, but you're not quite there. I'm going to rewind it a little bit more. I'm going to pause it right at the moment. Again, I rewind it way too far. In my defense about the rewinding, this video is 30 minutes long because it's like 10 or 11 games or whatever, and the games all like go to the third round and they all take forever. So the timeline for me to rewind is pretty short. But okay, it's coming up right here. There it is, right there. Anybody see it? Justin is doing a lot of neutral jumping, okay? For obvious reasons. He wants to try to control the air because Viper's a very air-based characters, right? He wants to try to shut down a little bit of the burning kick game. That's fairly straightforward. The key point is, after Justin successfully gets him with a neutral jump, Latif is reset. Justin comes down from the neutral jump. Latif is reset. He immediately backdashes, okay? I want you guys to pay attention to this because it seems like a very insignificant thing, but it's not at all. In fighting games, reading the opponent is everything. So if you can know what the opponent is going to do in a given situation, it's invaluable. You can do whatever you want. It's just free damage. So little things like this are huge. But the reason that I want to point this out to you is because you can apply this to your own game for a lot of characters. I use this all the time with Cody. Not necessarily a neutral jump, although sometimes a neutral jump, but more specifically with a normal anti-air. If your character has an anti-air that does not knock down, in other words, is not a Dragon Punch, for example, with Cody, I use back strong, the opponent is going to get reset out of the air, and you're not going to be in close range. Against a lot of characters with good backdashes, it is extremely, extremely, extremely common for them to backdash when they land, because you have an advantage, but you're not in a very threatening position because you're kind of like 2 character lengths away, which is exactly what we see here. It's the same type of situation, except instead of anti-airing with a normal, he's anti-airing with a neutral jump, but it's the exact same thing. So he's getting reset, and Justin isn't really like that threatening because he's not really up close. There's not too many things Justin can do. So he backdashes. He wants to completely eliminate Justin's advantage by going back to a neutral state. And that's the mindset that causes this, and it's a lot more common than you would think. So I'm going to rewind it a little bit this time, and we'll watch it one more time. I want you guys to see it because you're going to be seeing it a lot. There's the neutral jump, and there's the backdash. And now the other thing I want to mention real quick is, did you see how Justin reacted after the neutral jump? He walked forward and did a standing roundhouse. Why did he do the standing roundhouse? Because he already knows, okay? You guys didn't see the games before this, but Justin already picked this up. Hitting with a standing roundhouse there would be basically the max damage punish that he could do. He would get standing roundhouse into like low fierce, or depending on the range, maybe a sweep or a far standing fear, something like that. So he already has the read that Latif backdashes in that situation, and he's trying to cash in now. The problem is Viper's backdash happens to be pretty good, so he goes for the staying roundhouse here, and it doesn't work. But pretty soon you're going to see Justin transitions from trying to get a max damage punish to the next best thing, which happens to be sweep, which is pretty good. Think about it. Think about if you could put your opponent in a situation where you get a free sweep every time. Think about how powerful that idea is. Especially for a character like Rufus, a mix-up character, it's huge. So, okay, so I've rambled enough. I think I've gotten my point across. Let's watch the match unfold. So because Justin didn't get the punish on the backdash, he allowed Latif to get a little bit of pressure started. But he's got his own pressure going here again. Okay. Now who's the next smartest? Who saw the next key point? That was the first key point. There's going to be two main ones that I want to talk about tonight. The other one just happened. I didn't want to give you guys any warning because I want to see who's really paying attention. I don't think anybody's going to get this. This is, with only seeing it once, it's hard to get. So actually, I'm not even going to tell you. I'm going to see. Actually, I'm just going to keep going. When it happens again, then I want to see who gets it. Because the first time, it doesn't stand out. But the second time, pay attention. Pop quiz incoming. So Latif gets a nice EX Seismo there. Use the EX Seismo as a footsie tool. Pretty good. And trying to just sit on his life lead, take his time here. Getting in a little bit of a sticky situation there, doing a couple of neutral jumps. And finds himself an ultra there to clutch out the round. So it goes to 1 round apiece. Alright, Latif just going in again at the beginning of the round. Nice backdash. And that's another read. Again, that's not necessarily like a read that Latif does all the time. Justin just had the read there at that particular moment. And I don't know why Justin did that flip there. I don't know why he chose to do the follow-up on the Messiah. That follow-up was good. I just want to mention real quick, I think the reason that Justin missed that dash there off the FADC, he was prepared for it to hit. He definitely did the flip kick with the intention of it hitting. But Latif was so high that he couldn't just dash forward and get ultra. He could have potentially dashed underneath. In that situation, it's a pretty specific situation, but what Justin could have done there is focus canceled, but not dash canceled immediately. He could have held the focus, waited for Latif to fall a little bit, and then dash canceled forward so that Latif would fall forward, blocking his dash. Pretty rare occurrence to hit the flip that high, but it's definitely something to be prepared for if you're a Rufus player. So Latif takes the round. It's pretty thankful. And so now they're going into game 4. Latif taking his time at the beginning of this round, not just rushing in. Did you see it? Justin anti-aired him with low strong. Walked up. Latif backdashed again. That's 3 in a row. 3 in a row. And this time, Justin says, screw it. He won a game. I want to finish this off now. Forget trying to get max damage. I'm just going to get a guaranteed, I know I'll hit him with the sweep every time. He's not going to be able to backdash the sweep. I'm just going to sweep. I'm just going to get the knockdown and just take it. Huge. Now that, again, Justin gets another anti-air, but this is a little bit different. And this I want to mention also. So one thing you have to keep in mind when you're looking at a key point like this, Justin gets another anti-air low strong, right? But this time it's a little bit different because he already has Latif cornered. So the potential for Latif to backdash there is not high. Even though Latif is basically doing it without realizing that he's doing it. It's because it's an instinct, and his instinct is to create distance. But because he's already cornered, he cannot backdash to create distance. So he's not going to backdash in the corner. So what does he do instead? He burning kicks. So you can see even further there that Latif is feeling very threatened, and he wants to do something. And Justin perfectly reads that he's going to do the burn kick. He knows backdash is not really likely in the corner, and even if he does backdash, standing roundhouse, because Latif is not going to move anywhere, the standing roundhouse is going to hit him anyway. So just want to mention that because it's definitely something to keep in mind, that screen positioning can be a factor when you're looking at, opponents' patterns and things like that. There's obviously other things that you have to keep in mind. Meter, they might have a certain pattern or a certain habit when they're low on life or something like that. So you have to keep in mind that it's not as straightforward as just putting them into a position, but something like this, where they're being anti-aired, can be that straightforward. So, and those are the best ones. So Latif gets a forward throw here in the corner, does a fairly ambiguous cross-up roundhouse, gets a really nice combo off it, has a lot of stun on Justin. And Justin gets a sweep here. Latif with no fear, no meter to cancel that, just wake up DP. And Justin trying to stay patient here, has a very small life lead. Gets another sweep. Justin's use of sweep is just so good. People talk about it pretty frequently on streams, but it's just so true. He really makes Rufus look like he's an amazing footsies character when he is not. I mean, his sweep is fine, but it's not great. But he just uses it to such great value. And there again, you see another neutral jump anti-air, and Latif backdashes again. And this time Justin saw the range was going to be a little iffy on the sweep, so he just does crouching fierce. Again, just taking whatever he can get off of the situation. It's just free damage. It's literally just free damage. That time Justin does not choose to do the flip follow-up, just eats his burning kick and is happy about it. Another neutral jump, another backdash. Justin finds another sweep. And gets a small combo into Ultra. But it's pretty incredible, I think, to be able to look at a match like this of two very high-level players, and besides the situation when Latif was in the corner, we've seen 5 times already in like 1.5 games where that situation happened, and he reacted the same way every single time. I think that maybe a lot of newer players or even just intermediate players just kind of assume like, oh, top players, they know everything they're doing, they're fully aware, they have no habits, they mix everything up. It's not true. It is not true at all. You can catch even the best players in habits, and you just have to know what you're looking for. You have to know. You can't look at everything. You have to know what key things people are likely to have a habit about. And that's why I'm kind of explaining to you guys my concept of key points. Because you can't just look at everything. Because if you look at the whole match as a whole bunch of individual points, it's too hard to pick up on patterns. But if you look at specific things where people are likely to have patterns, it's very easy to find them. Very, very, very easy. So Latif thinking very hard, going into round 3. And here you see Latif, he's trying to use seismo feints and then react to Justin jumping from full screen with a seismo to try to trip guard a potential dive kick. And he does do it multiple times. And there's yet another anti-air, and Latif again backdashes. He was even kind of close to the corner, and he still backdashed there. It really shows you how strong his habit is. That was number 2. That's the second time now key point number 2 has happened. I want to see if anybody got it now. The first time, I don't expect anybody to get it. This time, I think maybe some people might have. So let's see who was paying the most attention. I forgot to get a glass of water. I'm really thirsty. Let's see. First of all, how many people we got watching? Oh, not bad. 360. All right. Hope you guys are enjoying the show so far. I guess while we're waiting here for the stream chat to catch up to my voice, I would also like to mention I don't know if Live Oratory is going to be streaming tonight. I assume that they are, but I texted Marlon earlier and he did not respond. So your guess is as good as mine. I assume that he is, but just throwing it out there, he might not be. So Marlon, if you're watching this, text me, let me know, or say something in stream chat. So let's see. Oh, I see some people touching upon the idea, but not quite the whole thing. Okay, some people are saying backdash after Thunder Knuckle. You might be right. You might be right. I might not have noticed that. You might be 100% right. Again, there's some things, you're not going to catch everything. So you might be right, but that's not the one I'm talking about. Because actually the one I'm talking about is right before that. Okay. So nobody's getting it 100% right. Shadowloo HQ did mention a sweep. I don't know if he saw it, but okay. Nobody's getting it, so I don't want to hold this up for too long, but okay. I'm going to rewind it again. Watch what Latif does after Justin sweeps, okay? I mean, I basically just told you flat out what it is, but I just want you guys to see. There's the backdash after the anti-air. Okay, sweep. Reversal Thunder Knuckle. Okay? Again, extremely, extremely easy to overlook. If you're not looking for things like this, you won't even notice. You won't even think to look for it. The reason that I noticed this is because I've been playing Street Fighter long enough that I know the value of a sweep. It's a very strong tool, okay? Sweeps are so commonplace in so many different matchups that it's kind of hard to explain, because sweeps in general are always fairly the same. They're always risk versus reward, where the reward is obviously you get a sweep untechable knockdown. Some games it's techable, whatever. But the risk is that it's potentially punishable, depending on what character you are. But more often than not, it's, in the very least, heavy, heavy, heavy frame disadvantage. So you're basically handing over priority to your opponent. Okay? The reason that this is important is because players who are accustomed to this idea recognize that when they block a sweep, they have frame advantage, and they have the advantage in the match for that brief second. So one thing that I've trained myself to do is see how opponents react when they block a sweep. And a lot of the time, like this, they react the same way every time. Specifically with Cody, with myself, there's somebody who plays Ken at ZP, and every time he would block a sweep, he would do step kick. And I told him after one round, I started counter hitting him, and I said, when the round was over, I said, after I sweep, you step kick every time. He said, really? I didn't even notice. And then he kept doing it. It was such an ingrained habit that he could not stop himself from doing it. I would sweep, and as I was sweeping, I would say, you're about to step kick. And he would still do it. He had to literally concentrate the whole match on just not step kicking after my sweep. That's how strong some of these habits can be. Okay, so keep that in mind. We're going to keep watching, and you're going to see how something so potentially insignificant can be huge. How you can use it to your advantage. Nice punish on the EX Messiah. Latif does a lot of neutral jumping when he's pressuring Justin trying to neutral jump a Messiah to get that exact punish. Finally pays off. He doesn't get it too often. And again, Latif just using the feints to trip guard a dive kick, like right there. Perfect trip guard Seismo. If you're unfamiliar with what a trip guard is, if you do a attack in the air, you cannot block right when you land. And Latif pretty proud of himself on that one. Bringing it back. He just won 2 games in a row. I'd be pretty psyched about that too. You're down 2 games to none against Justin in grand finals, and you win 2 straight to bring it back. I'd be pretty psyched too. And finally, a different response after the neutral jump anti-air. He neutral jumped that time instead of backdashing. It's the first. That's 1 out of 6 that he did not backdash. And then right after that, he did another one, but I'm not going to count that one because he was close to the corner. If he's close to the corner again, you have to kind of give him some slack because it's a different instinct. And a really nice cross under there. That was super clean. Crossed under at the last second and hit confirmed close strong into low strong super jump cancel ultra. But Justin just staying solid. Just staying super solid. Just blocking as much as he can. Gets him with a sweep. Justin just looking for something here. Very nice combo to EX Galactic Tornado. That was basically max damage he could have done off of the random jab. Oh, you guys are getting... Oh, yeah. You might... Sorry if you guys caught a little bit of stream lag. My phone rang, and I have DSL, so sometimes the phone ringing interferes with the internet. Should be good, though. Is it still lagging? How is my bitrate? Looks fine. Well, hopefully it fixes itself. Okay, anyway. Alright, so going into round 2 here. Justin finds another sweep. And there's a block sweep, and oh, what's that? Oh my god, I'm the worst. I'm the worst. I just accidentally skipped ahead instead of pausing. Okay, this is pretty close to where we were. While it catches up, let me just... So again, Latif thunder knuckled after the sweep, and you saw Justin get counter hit. And I'm pretty sure it's at that general moment that Justin starts to become aware of the pattern, because again, this is pretty early in the set still. So Justin is still getting his reads. He's still picking up on things. So we'll see. I'm trying to get back to where we were here. Okay, here we go. This should be pretty close. I apologize. Yeah, this is pretty close. Okay, so there's the EX Snake Strike. I apologize again. Misclicks. Here's that. Get to watch that nice dash under Ultra again. Justin working his way forward. Oh, I think we're still around behind, actually. My apologies. Yeah, okay. Okay, now we're caught up. That was the end of the round. Let me fast forward a little bit. People going hype. Okay, here we go. Okay, so... Okay, there's a sweep that hits. He's going to block a sweep here. Okay, and there's the Thunder Knuckle. Okay, sorry about that. So now we're back. So again, Latif gets a nice anti-air there into double Thunder Knuckle. Really ambiguous burning kick. So lame. Justin finds another sweep. I'd like to see Glenn from Get Your Tournament do some statistics on the number of sweeps Justin does versus the number that hits. Like what percentage? It's got to be above 75%. Just sweep after sweep. I mean, that was a punish, but pretty ridiculous. So Latif trying to, again, he's, like I said, he's using those seismos to try to get Justin to jump, and he's trying to anticipate a dive kick and then trip guard it with the, with an actual seismo. And Justin just playing super patient, just really just taking his time, blocking, just not afraid to block. You can just see Justin is completely calm. Really nice anti-air roundhouse there by Latif. We're just looking for Justin to put Latif into one of these situations, one of these known situations. Justin pretty behind on life here. Knows he has to go in. Yeah. Jumps and winds up eating a pretty good chunk of chip damage, but Latif burned all of his meter doing it. And Latif clutches out. He's super excited, resets the bracket. His fans more hyped than he is. Guy in the blue shirt getting super hyped, talking shit to Justin, I guess. But okay, so now what I want to do, again, if you missed the beginning, we are covering the grand finals of Devastation, and it was 2 3 out of 5 sets between Justin and Latif. Those were games 4 and 5, or... Oh, wait, he hasn't reset yet. Those were games... I'm confusing myself now. Those were games... Oh, yeah, those were games 4 and 5. So, what I want to do now is skip ahead further into the second set. So I'm going to bring you guys to... I believe it's game 4 of the second set, I think. Let me... get us there. Okay. Pretty close. Now, the reason that I want to bring you guys forward is because I want you guys to see now a point where Justin 100% has both of these reads. We already saw Justin already has the read on the anti-airs. He already knows that Latif likes to backdash after getting reset by the anti-air. But here we should see, if my notes are correct, which I really hope they are, that Justin starts to also read the reaction to a blocked sweep, okay? So, and there's a few other ones that I want to mention too, but they're kind of less valuable, I want to say, than these two. But so, okay, so we are, okay, it's game 3, I apologize, not game 4, so it's 1 game apiece in the second set. And by the way, that right there, I'm going to rewind that actually. This is worth rewind, I think. Justin gets a throw, dashes up, tech. Key point. This is another key point that is applicable to almost every single matchup. A tech throw. A lot of players react the same exact way after a tech throw. It sounds crazy. Like, I cannot stress this enough. You will be surprised if you pay attention to what an opponent does after a tech throw, what kind of free shenanigans you can get. Latif backdashed here, relatively safe, but, I mean, reads like that, like, if you're able, for example, you get them to tech a throw. If you are in a situation where, you know, he's at 80% and you're at nothing and he techs a throw and you need to take a risk, you can literally, it can be a good read to just get him to tech a throw and then ultra. That kind of thing, if you have this read, is a really good guess. Like, your chances of success are really high if you already make the read. If you see that they react that way like 2 times in a row, 99% of the time they're going to react to that every single time. And, again, you have to pay attention to, you know, screen positioning, because when you're dealing with backdashes, being close to the corner changes everything. But yeah, I just want to point that out because that is one that you can go online right now and you can apply to any matchup. I don't care who your characters are. I mean, obviously, if you're a grappler, your throws might not be as used because you're going to use your command throw a little bit more. But other than that, but even then, when you tech the opponent's throw, It's the same thing, so keep it in mind. And we're going to see it a little bit more from Latif. But unfortunately, because of the nature of Rufus, Justin's not really able to capitalize off of it. So, and this was another one. I want to rewind that as well. We saw in the previous game, Latif anti-air Justin with a standing roundhouse. The standing roundhouse is techable, and Justin, I believe, quick rises both times. Latif does the exact same thing, and this is another kind of key point that I just want to touch upon real quick. Very, very, very specific, but rare situations. Okay, and the reason that I want to point this out is because there are certain rare situations that, because of their rarity, the player will react the same way every time, simply because the situation is so rare that they haven't developed an assortment of options for that situation. Does that make sense? So, again, a situation might be so rare that they don't really use it as a mix-up. They just, it's very hard to explain, but it's so rare that they haven't had it happen to them enough times that they've explored their options. So they just use like a very basic option. And I'm going to rewind it here, and you're going to see that after Latif anti-airs with standing roundhouse, he just does short. He does walk up short. And it's just kind of like a standard go-to option. It's not anything fancy. And I don't know about you, but I consider anti-airing with Viper's standing roundhouse to be pretty rare. It's very good in this matchup because it happens to be very good against dive kicks. But in matchups where the opponent doesn't have a dive kick, it's basically never used. You just anti-air with high punch thunder knuckle or, whatever. So that's why I consider it a rare occurrence, because it's extremely matchup dependent. And I think that's why Latif always reacts the same way. So I'm going to rewind it just so you can see it, and just kind of keep it in mind. Again, you're not going to get to see Justin exploit it, but he potentially could. I mean, if Justin were to pick up on that, he could potentially jump at Latif, let himself get anti-aired, and then just like do wake up ultra. And the odds of it hitting, I think, would be pretty high. So, it's just about getting that read and then capitalizing on your, cashing in on your free damage. Free damage. Obviously, it's not guaranteed, but it's as close to guaranteed as you can get in a game like this. And there, another block sweep and another medium punch thunder knuckle reversal. And at this point, like I said, Justin is starting to get this read. And I think it's evident by the fact that Justin starts to, he's already using sweep a lot. But like I said, his hit rate on sweep is very high. But I think I don't know, it's kind of hard to tell, but it kind of seems like he's going for sweeps whenever he's in range, because he knows that hit or block, it's still good for him, because Latif, even on block, reacts the same way every time. So he just kind of does sweep whenever he's in range, because he doesn't really care if it hits or not. So Latif getting a little bit of momentum here. Gets a big cross up. Gets the stun. Nice. Just goes for the untechable knockdown, because the damage is going to be scaled on the stun combo because of the number of hits. And Latif looking pretty good this round. Yeah, Justin could kind of feel Latif was playing pretty well right there, so he just throws out the Hail Mary. And you can see him thinking about it. And going into round 3 here. And Justin just taking his time. Not really... By the way, also, yeah, I didn't get to say it. I didn't get to say it before he did it. We talked about how Latif is using the seismo feints to try to bait Justin into doing a dive kick, and then he's anti-airing the dive kick, or he's attempting to trip guard anti-air the dive kick with a seismo. Justin sees Latif is doing feint, and he knows by now for sure what Latif is trying to do. He's trying to bait the jump. So what does Justin do? He just walks up and does down forward medium kick and gets in for free. Down forward medium kick is, I believe, +1 on block, so it gives him free mix-up. This kind of goes back to what we talked about on one of the previous episodes about how if you recognize what the opponent is trying to do, or is trying to get you to do, you can next level them and just completely do something that, in the case that we saw in the videos in that episode, were not very strong. In this case, down forward medium kick is still a strong tool, but it just gets that much stronger when you know that the opponent is looking for something else. It's kind of like a distraction, you know what I mean? Like, they distract themselves looking for what they want you to do, and you just pick up on it and, you know, just do something else. Just do something that next levels them. There's the block sweep, and there's the payoff. Now, if you were just... Whoops. If you were just watching this and you didn't pick up on the pattern, that might have just looked like a guess to you. But I hope that by me pointing it out beforehand, you realize that was just a really great read. Like, that was just really great read, period. Latif did medium punch thunder knuckle after sweep almost every single time. Justin picked up on it, did a sweep, let it get blocked, immediately did EX Seismo. I think it's pretty fair to say that Justin did not react to the Seismo. I mean, to the, Thunder Knuckle. He might have reacted, but if he did react, it was because he was looking for it, because he expected it, which can be another valuable asset of picking up on the opponent's patterns. It can allow you to react to things that would normally be unreactable. So, I mean, unfortunately for Justin, he didn't have Ultra, or that payoff would have been huge because he would have did EX Messiah FADC Ultra. But you can definitely see the potential. You can definitely see the potential of a read like that. And there it is again, and Justin gets hit. I think he was trying to do something there. Justin blocks for a second after the EX Seismo, takes his time, gets his throw. That is punishable, by the way, if she does not go through you. It's pretty bad on block in general. Justin drops his combo, of course. Gets a second chance. Drops the Ultra. And Justin just, look at him. Woo! I almost choked that one up. And Latif knows he had multiple opportunities and let them go to waste. So those were the three games that I really specifically wanted to show you guys. But we have 10 minutes still, so I actually didn't take notes on the last game because it didn't stand out to me. But we can watch it and see if we see any of the patterns continuing. I would not be surprised, obviously. Latif backdashes a sweep there. And Justin just playing so solid, really. He's just grinding out Latif, basically. He's taking as few risks as possible and just relying on his good reads and good footsies to just grind out Latif. The rounds that Latif wins, it's usually because of an Ultra, off of a situation like that. He does win a few rounds where he just like steamrolls Justin. He just gets some momentum and just plays excellently. But for the most part, Justin just grinds him out. And there's a sweep, and he finally does not react with Thunder Knuckle. But still, we're at like 4 out of 5 or 5 out of 6. And there you see he finally is breaking that habit. And he's just looking for chip here. He's just doing as much chip as possible, and then once he gets him into overhead range, doesn't need the chip anymore, just goes for the overhead, breathing a sigh of relief. And anti-air, and there again is the backdash after the anti-air. Nice anti-air there by Latif, and very nice follow-up. He recognized that Rufus was high enough to get the EX burning kick for the extra damage. And they right back to Thunder Knuckle after sweep. Latif broke the habit twice, and then he's right back into it. There it is again. And Justin goes for the I don't want to say win because it wouldn't have killed him, but he goes for the momentum there. Gets the Ultra. Does a ton of damage, of course. Just goes for the throw. Again, just grinding out Latif. He's not taking any risks. Just grinding him out with good reads and good footsies, good reactions, just solid play. Which is pretty cool considering he's playing Rufus, I think. And you see how, like I said before, I really feel like Justin is just going for as many sweeps as possible. He just wants to put Latif in that situation because he recognizes that he can exploit it. Gets him with a counter hit down forward medium kick. If you would have recognized that he could have comboed off that is comboable on counter hit. He can do low jab into a small combo into EX Galactic Tornado. And Justin looking for more neutral jumps. Finds a dive kick. Finally finishes a combo. Have not seen Justin finish a combo in quite some number of games. And Justin going in there and gets the read. Read the burning kick there in the corner. Gets him with a standing roundhouse into Snake Strike and wins the tournament. So, I hope you guys learned something. I definitely think that this was a very cool thing to talk about. This is one of my favorite concepts in Street Fighter, and I definitely try to use it to my advantage as much as possible. I think that a lot of players probably have never thought about this kind of concept, so I hope that you guys will think about it in the future and try to apply it to your own game. And I think that these games really show just how powerful this concept can be if you can take advantage of it, because if a player like Latif is susceptible to this kind of habit, just think about what the average player is susceptible to. Think about the kind of things you can read on an average player. It really, there's really no limit. You can really, any kind of key point that you can isolate, a lot of players have a habit for it. And if you can just read it and think about how you can exploit it, you can really get a strong payoff. So it's all about just reading it and then purposely putting them into that situation as many times as possible. On that note, sometimes you don't want to put them into the situation too many times, because if you keep putting them to the situation over and over, if it's like a repeatable situation, it might become so apparent because it's happening so frequently that they might realize, like, oh, am I doing this every time? So sometimes it's actually best to make a note and then save it for when you need it. I actually did this to a player at EVO 2 years ago. This isn't necessarily like a key point, but just kind of on this topic. It was Cody versus Guile, and I did he did a Sonic Hurricane just standing there. We were just in mid-range, and he just did Sonic Hurricane just for the chip damage because I was starting to get low. And I know that if you do a random Sonic Hurricane from almost any range, I can do Ultra 2, and it cancels out the Sonic Hurricane, and then the sand completely cancels out the Sonic Hurricane except for one hit. The last hit of the sand hits him, and then you get the wrench hits into the end, which is still pretty good damage, even though you miss all the sand damage. But he did it the first time, and I had Ultra, so I immediately knew, oh, this guy doesn't know that I can just counter Ultra. But I was not in danger of being chipped out, so in the few seconds of the Ultra Freeze, I said to myself, I'm not even going to do it. I'm just going to take the chip damage, whatever. I was like winning the round or whatever. It was close enough that I didn't need the Ultra, right? Sure enough, the very next game, he had me at no life, and he was at like 40%, and he tried to chip me out with the Ultra, and I counter-ultra'd it and won the round because of it. And I guarantee you, if I had done it the first round, he would not have done that again. He would have never done that again. So things like that, sometimes it's actually better to save it and really cash in, like we saw Justin did the EX Messiah when he knew that Latif was going to do the Thunder Knuckle after the sweep. It might have been correct for Justin to not do it there and wait until he had Ultra so that he could cash in to the maximum amount. But I think that at that point, Justin didn't really care. And that key point is so specific and so kind of like camouflaged that Latif, it's not likely that he would have picked up on it from the first time. So Justin could have gotten multiple uses out of that knowledge. So he didn't really need to wait until he had Ultra to really cash in for the maximum amount. So, But that is it. We are getting very close to 11 o'clock. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. I definitely enjoyed this one. I think this is my favorite one so far. And again, I don't know if Live Oratory is going live. Marlon, if you're in here, say something. Go to their channel, check it out. I hope they are streaming. I want something to watch. So if not, sorry, Hanzo is not streaming tonight because he was doing a first to 50 with K-Beast, which is probably over by now. If not, you can also check on his stream. Maybe they're still streaming. I don't know. Beyond that, I'll see you guys next week. I'll see you guys on Monday. Getting pretty close to Ultimate Marvel. I'm getting pretty excited. And, yeah. Good show. Later, guys.